Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to my stream. Yesterday was crazy. We're going to do a slightly shorter stream today. What's going on? And that. There we go. Now I remember. And that. What's going on? Today we're going to do some bush flying. We're going to fly from Katmandu to Lukla. Um, if we if we have some time and this flight goes well, we might go up and fly around Mount Everest. I think that would be fun. But first, we're going to do a cargo mission. I've got my Pilatus PC6 Turbo with the 950 loaded and ready to go. So we should just plop into Tribhuvan National or International Airport here and be able to begin our flight towards Lukla, one of the most dangerous airports in the world. I did not get back from Eve. I ran out of time and I had to go to a Call of Cthulhu game. But check the YouTube channel. We did put Space Dump Truck is on the surface. We have gear on the surface. And I will say the landing did not go entirely as planned, but it's down. So next stream I'm going to do for Kerbal is I'm putting Kerbals on the surface and then we're getting them home. And I'll probably do a mega stream then too. I'll start very early in the day. Same thing. I have plans at 6 on Fridays, but I will play. I basically played right up until 5:45 yesterday before I ended the stream because I literally could not wait any longer before I had to go do real life stuff. So that's the plan. We're going to keep it going. I was just big dumb and I scheduled my mega stream on a day where I had plans elsewhere. Um, so maybe what we'll do is instead of next week, normally I like to do Kerbal on Friday and Microsoft Flight Sim on Saturday. We may switch it up and I'll do Kerbal on Saturday because then I have no obligations, so I can literally just stream basically forever until I get my Kerbals back from Eve. So I know I said that I wouldn't stop till I got home, but I had to, unfortunately, because real life is. I mean, I got to go hang out with friends. It was awesome, but I admit to do the whole thing. So next time, we're gonna finish it soon. Then we'll only have two left. Once we finish Eve, we'll have Moho and Tylo, and I feel like Tylo in comparison to Moho and Eve is going to be easy. I actually just genuinely need to make a better lander. If I make a better lander, I could go to Tylo right now. I was big dumb when I designed my lander, and the thrust to weight ratio is all wrong. So, anyways, today. Oh yeah, well, it says a lot about the weathering on the surface of Mars. The fact that there are still river deltas there, because you have to think about it. Those river deltas haven't been around for a very long time, and yet they're still there. Um, it indicates to me that the rate of deposition on Mars and weathering must be very slow. Like chemically, the ground is probably pretty inert at this point, and from a weather standpoint, weathering is pretty chill at this point. All right, here we go. Gonna hit this. We're going. We're flying to we're flying to Lukla, one of the more difficult airports in the world. Lukla is unique because Lukla has no go around procedures. If you miss your landing, the charts for Lukla point you towards a nice hillside on which it would be convenient to crash. There is a challenge online. Perhaps we'll try it one of these days where you actually fly. Because Lukla, I think you can only fly in one way. There is a challenge online a lot of people do where they attempt to fly in the opposite direction of Lukla. Okay, this is nighttime, and I wanted this to be daytime. Because while it is a beautiful evening, let's go to weather. Let's bring. There we go. Let's do this at sunrise. Isn't that pretty? There we go. All right. First things first, everybody. We got to start the old airplane up. So let's go ahead and come down here. And let's go ahead and fire the old girl up. Let's do a quick controls check. Let's make sure my gust lock is off. I'll actually turn it on and turn it off just to check it. Controls are free. Okay, let's go ahead and turn my fuel on. All right, we'll get shore power first. There's my external power. Battery bus switch. That's on. Okay, we'll leave those closed for now. Let's go ahead and get my nav lights are on. Let's get my beacon lights on. And we'll set my landing lights up later. Let's get my panel lights on. They are. I took astronomy in college. I was actually one class short of an astrobiology minor. But the girl I was dating at the time politely explained to me that I was on year 6 of college, and she would not date someone in their 7th year of college if they weren't becoming a doctor. And she made a very good point. I needed to go actually get a real job and make some money. So, but yeah, it was very funny. So I almost made it, and I realized I had one of the classes I needed. So if I'd pressed the issue, I probably could have gotten it. But I just really wanted to graduate at that point. Okay. Let's turn cockpit fan on, cabin fan on. I don't know if we're going to need anti-ice today. I don't know actually what temperature it is outside. We'll worry about that later. Let's go ahead and get our flight director turned on. I want to set... We're going to be flying pretty high today, but I want to have a... I intend to do a lot of this via... Okay, let's go ahead and set this. Let's set this to 10,000 feet. We're going to be going pretty high today, folks. I want to set my nav mode to... Okay, we need to set this. I mean, you know, everybody has to start somewhere. I mean, that's kind of how you do it. CDI, GPS, PFT option. Let's get some wind. Option 1, option 2, option 3. Well, we can set that when we get up into the air. Let's go back. All right, so there's that. Let's put nav mode on. I want to do... We're going to go pretty hard into the air here. I want to go 300 feet per minute. All right, we're going to check all that. That's good. Okay, external fuel controls. We're good there. I've taken 3 years to get my 2-year degree, but you know what? Hey, that's the thing with college. You gotta... you really with college, it's about, you know, it's about the experience. It's about pushing yourself. You know, it's Rome wasn't built in a day. Oh, VTuber Elosi. Sorry, I didn't catch you there. What's going on? How are you? Thanks for popping in. But yeah, college is one of those things that, I don't know. My advice that I give to everybody is, my mom used to tell me this old thing whenever I had a big project to do and I was freaking out about it, which is, how do you eat an elephant? You do it one bite at a time, you know? And that's you know, that's how you do college. It is one bite at a time. You can't get too scared of it. You have to just, you know... My Thrustmaster 16 isn't doing great anymore. Yeah, I had this awesome Thrustmaster back in the day, and unfortunately, it met its end years ago while playing Elite Dangerous, which I've been meaning to actually play some Elite Dangerous on stream for you guys. I just need to get back into the game and make sure all my controls are properly set up. I don't want to do a stream where, like, you guys have to sit there and watch me, like, redo my bindings for 2 hours. All right, so we are set and ready to go. Here's my thing. Frontier, they had the perfect game. They had the perfect game. Because the thing was, Frontier had a community that was willing to take the empty galaxy they gave them and create their own content. Like, you had the Smiling Dog crew. You had the Fuel Rats. You had the Explorers Guilds. You had all of these amazing things. You had, what was it called? I'm trying to remember the name of the squadron. You had this entire squadron of guys that would come in and defend explorers returning from the black against griefers and stuff. Like, they had everything. They had everything. You know? And they let it, they let it go. It makes me sad because I was a huge Elite fan back in the day. I built my first computer so I could play Elite and it's Kerbal Space Program. All right, here we go. Everything's rocking and rolling. Let's go ahead and get this baby started. So we're going to open these covers. This is our igniter and this is our starter. So let's go ahead and put our fuel boost pump on. That should give us fuel pressure. Let's check our fuel pressure. We are pretty good, I think. All right, here we go. My thing with Mojang is, I mean, they only really do the one game. And I'm going to be honest, I really genuinely enjoy Minecraft. I have never beaten Minecraft. So maybe one of these days, if you guys would like to see an entire Minecraft playthrough with the goal of simply beating the game, let me know. Okay. Looks like we're in the green. We're running. Okay, we can turn external power off. We are on our battery power. All right, let's go ahead and lower our landing lights. Okay, there we go. All right, everybody, here we go. We are heading to Lukla International Airport. Now I'm going to bring up my VFR map so I can navigate this airport. This is something I do in tail draggers a lot because it's hard to see out of these things. But like, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Mojang, I think even this day, you can kind of tell they're at least trying because they still open tons of options about the game up to the community. Frontier, though, I mean, to me, it is quite the fall from grace. ATC, let's go ahead and tune Katmandu ground. We are going to depart. I think we're departing to the east. We are, so let's go ahead and tell them. Request taxi departing east.
Taxi to and hold short runway 02 using taxiway Alpha Pilatus X-ray Golf Sierra.
Okay, let's take a look. We're going to taxi to runway 02. Hang on, maybe I was wrong. Taxi runway 02. Hang on. Oh dear, we have to taxi a very long way. Okay, well, let's get to work. Okay. And I'm already lost. Come on. There we go. Alright. The astronomy class is stars and galaxies, which I don't know much compared about to intersolar system stuff. I actually have a friend who is not astronomer, an astrophysicist, and he does work on galactic evolution, and he is crazy to talk to. Like, just wild stuff. It's a really interesting field, you know, like modern galactic evolution and stuff. It's really cool stuff. There is you'll enjoy it. Like, star evolution and star classification is really interesting too, because I mean, there's just some interest. Stars are weird. Like, they do some interesting stuff. So I think you'll have a good time at the class. I really enjoyed my astronomy classes in college. I mean, that is one of the reasons that I took geology, is I just really began to enjoy it. If I ever pursue a master's degree, it'll hopefully be in planetary geology. Which is, you know, if a geology and astronomy had a baby. You'll learn a lot more. I mean, there are red stars that are huge. Red giants and red supergiants are massive, like Beetlejuice, Beetle Guys, whatever it's called, is a red supergiant. And they are, yeah, they're huge. But they're also blue supergiants, white supergiants, yellow supergiants. They are actually, yeah. Typically, red giants and red supergiants are late stage stars of all sorts of kind. Blue supergiants are typically just super high mass stars that are probably they don't live very long lives. Okay. Okay, we're just going to come around the corner here. Oh, I forgot, actually. Let me go ahead and hold short here. Let me put my parking brake on and do this. Really quick, I forgot to give us some nice music to listen to. Even though I usually get struck if I listen to any, like, playlist, they only kill, like, part of my video. Copyright free music. Copyright free background music. Let's find out. 12 hours of free background music. Copyright free for creators and streamers. Let's go for it. Let's see how good this sounds.
Hi, my name's Enrique.
Oh my god.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Yes, that's a great sandwich, but I don't need to hear about it. There we go. Okay. Hopefully that sounds good for you guys. I am not using an ad blocker. Also, YouTube is getting crazy about that. They're killing, you know, they're like really pushing people's processors. Like, people have noticed that your processor runs at like 20 or 30% all the time if you're using an ad blocker on YouTube. I figure the situation will change. Eventually, I just need to build like a Spotify playlist or something, but I don't even pay for that either. I don't pay for crap because I'm poor. Move to a non... Yeah, just don't use Chrome. Move to a non-Chrome. Okay, I'll take a look at doing that. I've been looking at a couple other browsers, so yeah, I'll take a look at that. Maybe that'll be a good. Maybe that's a good idea. For now, we'll have to deal with a few ads, but it's okay. You know. All right, let's go to Katmandu Tower, and let's request our takeoff clearance.
Katmandu Tower, Pilatus Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra ready for east departure at runway 02.
All right, everybody, here we go. Let's check both ways, make sure there's nothing coming. All right, there we go. Yeah, I heard good things about Firefox. I need to just go ahead and download it. All right. Lady, I'm doing something.
Cleared for takeoff runway 02, Pilatus X-Ray Golf Sierra.
Okay, so we're gonna go, whoa, careful, careful plane. We're gonna turn onto the runway here. Okay, let's go ahead and configure for takeoff. Okay, flaps are down. I'm gonna bring my throttle or my prop control back just a little bit. Let's throttle up. Actually, I need to get umphy in my chair here. All right, let's throttle up. Whoa, whoa. Come on there, girl. And we're up. Okay. Bring our nose down just a little bit. Geology info. Mafic ocean crust and Felpic continental crust to SpongeBob while he understands none of it, daydreaming about jellyfishing. I did. Now I have seen it.
Katmandu Tower, Himalayas, Alpha Sierra, X-Ray Gulf, Sierra, continue for east departure.
Okay, let's go ahead. Sorry about that. I was focusing. Oh, well, hey, VTuber, thank you for stopping by, and enjoy your sleep. I fell asleep yesterday at like 8 o'clock in the evening because I was exhausted. Oh, thank you so much for the follow. I take care, and definitely pop by again soon. Okay. I forgot to get my altitude setups. Yay! Alright. In fact, while we're up here, let's go ahead and get our automated weather real quick, everybody. Because we need to actually figure out what our weather is. Well, screw it. We're not going to know. It's one of the great... for me, it's one of the great games. It takes, you know, like anything, flying takes practice, but, you know, it's so much fun. Okay, let's go ahead and come over here, and then we're going to get our autopilot turned on so I can get my... I need to get my altimeter set up. So we're going to get flying over here, and then we'll manually set our radio up to get some weather. Oh, that's good water. Oh my lord, that's good water. Okay, so we're gonna get over onto our vector line over here, and once we're there, we'll kick on our... I'm also trying to get my rudder trimmed in right now because it's being a little wonky. Just want to get her nicely trimmed up, you know? Okay.
Katmandu Tower, Himalayas, Alpha Sierra, X-Ray Gulf, Sierra, frequency change.
Okay. But yeah, Lukla Airport was founded by Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay as a airport to be a gateway to the Everest region of Nepal. And it is, you know, the famous thing is, a lot of people call it the most dangerous airport in the world. I don't know if I'd call it the most dangerous airport in the world. It is certainly, you know, it's certainly dangerous, you know? Like, it's certainly scary, but, like, I don't know. If you're in nice weather, it could be a pretty easy landing. Now, I say that, I hope I'm not going to crash when I get there, because last time I flew into it, I believe I actually crashed. Alright, let's go ahead and let's get trimmed out. We're going pretty quick right now. We could probably actually climb a bit more. So let's go ahead and climb a bit. Fun fact, everybody, did you know that Katmandu isn't really that high up? It turns out Denver is actually a higher city than Katmandu, along with cities like Santa Fe. Okay. I mean, everybody loves geology facts. Geology facts are amazing. Now, one thing, I do have a lot of friends who, if we're out doing something and they see a rock on the ground, they will reach down, pick up the rock, and hand it to me and say, "What rock is this?" And, you know, it's funny the first, like, 20 times. Heading through 7,000 feet right now, just climbing up. Lukla sits, I believe, at around 9,000 feet, so I'd like to come in. When I'm getting close, we'll drop down, but I'd like to be about 1,000 feet up from Lukla when we come in for it. But yes, Cam Papa, my husband is dead. I don't want sex. I can only tell you if I smash it. Well, actually, for good rock identification, you're usually going to break the rock in half because you need a clean face. You know, weathering is a thing, and it can change some of the outside features of the rock, particularly its color and its texture. Sorry, my mind is in the gutter. When you say, I can tell you, but I need to smash it, that's not where my mind goes. Oh, we could probably kick off and let's kick off our landing lights and go ahead and stow them. Okay, landing lights are stowed. That'll clean up the airframe just a little bit. And it is a beautiful morning here in the Himalayas right now. Look at this. Look at that mist. Clear skies once you get up above it. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. We have about an hour-long flight today. Fucking rocks. I know it's called a butte, but it's misleading. Well, don't even get me started about cleavage. Because cleavage is a measure on rocks based off of the way they break, and it can give you an idea about the minerals that you're looking at. All right. God, man, look at that. What a pretty morning in the Himalayas. Wow. Very pretty. Now, we're in the foothills right now in India. Well, Nepal. But India is just to the south over that way. But we're going to go ahead and turn north here in a little while. And when we turn north, you guys are going to see some beautifully magnificent mountains. The Himalayas, of course, are one of the youngest mountain ranges on the planet Earth right now. India used to hang out much farther south, down near Antarctica for a while, where it kind of... down near Antarctica and the southern tip of Africa. And then for some reason, India just decided to go its own way and go slam into Asia as hard as it possibly could, making one of the largest mountain ranges on the planet Earth. Okay, we've got autopilot set now. We're going to go ahead and let the plane fly herself for a little while. She looks to be doing okay and not trying to stall us. I mean, I know, right? Nearest airport list, Trebihan International. Do they have... Yeah, let's get the ATIS going. All right. Visibility 4. Few clouds at 500. Dew point 10. Altimeter 3018. Okay. So let's come down here and we're gonna go 3018. There's that. Okay, that gets our altimeter set. So we need to go in here and find our baro, which is right here. And we're going to go 3018. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So now we're more accurate on our barometer, so we're actually going to have good altitude. Let's go ahead real quick, everybody, and let's take a look at where we are flying. Okay, we're on course. You can see our turn north up through the canyon and to Lukla up here. Let's go ahead and select Lukla. I want to know what its altitude is. 9290 feet. Okay. So we'll need to remember that. It's on a Unicom 122.3. There is no ILS in construction. And the only runway is 06. 24 is just there, kind of for show. We're going to be landing 06. All right, cool. But yeah, how many cleavage planes do you have? Sounds like a pickup line for interdimensional beings. It does it not? I mean, you know, when you're playing the D&D game and you meet creatures from the planes, what's the first thing the bard does? That's right, he hits on them. Okay. But we are looking great right now. Let's go ahead and see if we can get some weather set up on our screen here. So let's go to map options. Topo. Yeah, let's go. Let's get our let's make our topos on. What does Nextrad do? I don't even know what Nextrad does. Traffic. I want to get traffic on there. All right, cool. So let's go back. We can check our engine details. Back. Detail all. Detail 3. Yeah, I want all detail. Menu. You used to be able to do weather on these things. I'm certain you still can. I just don't know what you press. Whatever. The weather's beautiful today, so I'm not going to worry about it. We can see our engine settings right here. Take a look at our fuel. So these are our volts. Amps right here, volts. Fuel quantity looks really nice right now. You can see we're currently, our ITT is at 1900 degrees Celsius. Our PSI inside the engine is 636, and we are producing a good amount of torque. We can actually... Second set of cleavage. Well, you know, it's funny because you can also get into geology, volcanology, you have volcanic dikes, and you can have two volcanic dikes, one on top of the other. These are real things that happen in geology. There's a mineral called Cummingtonite. I shit you not. And it is spelled exactly how you think it is spelled, unfortunately. We are at a gorgeous 10,000 feet up in the Himalayas. Look at that. All right. Let's go ahead and see how far we are from our first checkpoint. We're about 12 minutes out from the first checkpoint. Ground speed is 154 knots. We are absolutely booking it right now. I'm actually going to bring our throttle back just a little bit. Save some fuel. There we go. XKCD. What am I clicking on here? Oh my god, I just clicked on... Hang on. We have a problem. What did I click off? Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, it made me click this cover, which shut down everything. So now we are in trouble. Okay. Let's get our fuel boost pump on. Oh, we lost autopilot. Okay, we're trying to do a mid-air reboot right now. Okay, let me go back to my Twitch here. That was a disaster. Yeah, when I went and clicked it, it like thought that, because I was checking the link you sent, I don't know why, there was lag or something, but it clicked that cover. Alright, autopilot's back on. Thankfully, the plane was really nicely trimmed and the engine kept running. So we're good. Everything's good. Battery bus switch is good. External power is off. Generator bus switch should be on. Fuel boost pump is on. All right, starter covers are closed. All right, we're back. We're good. We are so back, everybody. Okay, let me see a look at what you sent me. Forget the bedding. We were wrong about the whole valley. The spreading is recent. See the friction breccia? Oh, flow cleavage. Deeper in the rift. Deeper. This orogeny is driven by a huge thrust fault. Yeah, I mean, it is true. Geology's pretty erotic. The other thing, too, is you have to understand the extent to which geologists drink. It's like a famous thing in geology is how much geologists enjoy the sauce. Okay, next rad. Traffic's on. Legend. Back. Okay. Engine detail. Okay, so we're back. We're back. We're good. Everything's running now. But yeah, there is a hilarious thing I've noticed with geologists is they pretty much all drink and heavily too. Whenever they all hang out, going on geology field trips in college was basically like a party that you did work in between the partying. When I was in Nevada doing field work, I'm pretty sure our class kept that bar in business by going there once a year because you would spend all day out mapping and working, and then in the evenings you would literally go to the bar and refine your maps, make the next day's plans, and work things out and collaborate while getting hammered. Gorgeous morning in the Himalayas right now. So once again, we are flying to Lukla. I'm trying to think of other interesting facts about the Himalayas. It is one of the more earthquake-prone zones in the world right now because the continental collision is still happening. I joined the Discord server for one of my potential unit choices, Geology Club, and one of the first events I see announced in the channel is Thursday in Tap at the Perot Museum. Yeah, I mean, it's alcohol was served at every function. And not a little either. Lots and strong. But we, I was telling a story. I totally lost my train of thought there. No, you'll be fine. Just go hang out. You're gonna hang out with a lot of drunk people, but no one will like force you to drink or anything. No one would do that. No, you're gonna be fine. You're just what's gonna happen is you're probably gonna end up being a designated driver quite a bit of the time. When I was in Colorado doing field work, one of the geology students turned 21 while we were on the trip, so we went out one night, and one of our geology students, she was very nice, she was actually my partner on a couple projects. She was a former, I'm trying to think of like the nice term, she was a former exotic dancer, we'll put it that way. And so, you know, she found out that it was this kid's 21st birthday, so she came out with us. And, you know, she could do all the tricks, like, she let him do body shots and stuff. It was very funny. We got him horrifically drunk. And then, you know, drove him home and put him to bed. And then we all went out and hiked like 10 miles the next day. Hungover as hell. It was a good time. I can't drive yet either. Oh my. You're gonna have to do one or the other there, Spud. You're gonna have to do one or the other. Oh, do I need to reset my barometer? Okay, no, we're still set. Good. And we're holding really nicely at our prescribed altitude. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this, bring our prop back a bit more, lower our RPM slightly. What I really truly want to check right now is what is our fuel Gallons per hour. We're burning 54 gallons per hour, everybody. Now, if you remember on the other bush plane I flew, the X-Cub, I could get that down to about 5 gallons an hour. So this thing burns 10 times more fuel, though it is quite a bit faster. This is actually one of my favorite aircraft in the world. It's so ugly, and so utilitarian, but it's a nice plane, you know? It flies really nicely, even when you're dumb and you turn off all of the electronics mid-flight. Everything's very straightforward. It's got a desk here, so you can keep your paperwork on it. This is the Pilatus PC-6. It is basically a backcountry delivery plane. A couple years ago, actually, and it has a unique feature called beta flight mode. When it enters beta flight mode, it can... You bring the throttle back to idle, and the spinning propeller basically becomes a drag surface. I mean, most spinning propellers are a drag surface, but this one specifically turns the propeller into a drag surface. And you can fly down at like 45, 50 degrees and hold your speed pretty low. This is used, of course, for kind of diving in to short runways in the backcountry. So these are used a lot in Southeast Asia. They're actually used in the Himalayas. There are Pilatus PC-12s that make deliveries to Lukla Airport. But yeah, they're used a lot in Southeast Asia, the Philippines. They make, they're in Alaska, parts of Europe. A couple of years ago, Red Bull did that thing where two guys base jumped off a cliff in wingsuits, and they flew down and flew through the open door of an airplane and landed inside the airplane. A Pilatus PC-12 was used for that maneuver because of its beta flight mode capability. Now, interestingly enough, the PT-6 motor, which was made by Pratt & Whitney, and it is the turbine motor powering this craft, has been used in a great number of other aircraft, including a famous little bush plane made by Mike Patay called Draco. Draco used the engine out of one of these, well, developed for one of these for its power plant. And the coolest part about that is Mike Patay, when he built Draco, maintained the beta flight system, so Draco could go into beta flight mode and descend very quickly onto small bush runways. Let's go ahead and check and see how far we are from our next waypoint. All right, we're about 2 minutes. We're going to turn north that way, and you're going to see some beautiful mountains over there. I'm really digging this music right now. Not the most exciting stream today. I wanted to keep it chill. Yesterday there was a lot of pressure, a lot of failure. Ice King saw me fail brutally when I accidentally, instead of hitting quick load, hit quick save after the Space Dump Truck 1 broke apart over Eve. If you get the chance, definitely check out my YouTube channel or the VOD here. The actual landing at the very end of Space Dump Truck 2 on Eve was a nail-biter. I nearly put her into one of the oceans. I landed on a shoreline like a kilometer away from the ocean. It was terrifying. It was... now, I will say the explosion of Space Dump Truck 1 when its internal forces tore it apart was quite spectacular. I mean, it just came apart. Now, the interesting thing about all this is, though, that in the future, depending on what Eve is like in Kerbal Space Program 2, I think my egg reentry vehicle is actually an exceptionally good design for dropping mega heavy payloads into thick atmospheres. So I think that in KSP2, I'm going to default to that egg design to start dropping payloads onto Eve from now on. Especially payloads that are big and strangely shaped. You have to get the inflatable heat shield, which is, like, broken in that game. But, I mean, I've still got to think about how on earth I'm going to put a huge, like, descent vehicle down into Eve's atmosphere. I have no idea how I'm going to do that yet, but I think a lot of air brakes are probably going to be involved. Oh, sorry, I had to drink some water. So you can see us getting close to our turn. We're going to go ahead and turn up this canyon here. We'll probably get to the point fairly soon where I have to take manual control of the craft and fly it manually the rest of the way. Oh, yeah, like as far back as we can go, almost, there are chemical signatures of life on the planet Earth. Like, Earth had basically barely cooled, and life started popping up. It's actually kind of amazing when you put some real thought into it. I was at the Denver Museum of Natural History last weekend, and, you know, the history of life is so fascinating because microbial life really fired up pretty much immediately. We don't see the huge leap in multicellular life until, you know, you get up to, like, I mean, it was before the Precambrian, but I'm not quite sure how long before. It wasn't very long before that, speaking geologically, when Precambrian life fired up and began to become a thing. By the way, everybody, you can see up there, those are the Himalayas, like the high mountains. We will be, we might go see those today, depending on how long this flight takes. Like I said, I don't want to do a mega long stream today. Do you think that? Do I think that might be like an indicator of something? I think the big thing for me, what it says is once you get life started, life is incredibly hard to kill. Like, it's very hard for there to be some sort of natural disaster or something that would render a planet sterile, if that makes sense, you know? Like, I think that, yeah, I think that you would find it difficult to see a planet become, like, completely sterile for any reason, you know, because outside of something absolutely catastrophic happening. Because, you know, Earth gave it her best shot. We had, like, snowball Earth, where, like, everything froze a couple billion years ago. You had catastrophes involving atmospheric chemistry, where too much oxygen built up at one point, which was toxic to a lot of the life at the time. There's been so many times where Earth has said, no, I'm going to kill everything. And it's just not quite doable. It's too, you know, it's too difficult for, or it's difficult for Earth to kill everything as hard as she tries. It's pretty amazing. All right. Flying up into the Himalayas now. Beautiful day up there, as you can see, some light clouds. But yeah, it's... like, looking back into the geological record of Earth, I think I saw they had a rock that was lightly metamorphosized in the Natural History Museum, which was like, 2.3 billion years old. And there's abundant evidence in that rock of microbial life, like bacterial mat and algae and, or like some sort of like photosynthesizing microorganisms. You know, just amazing, like, good evidence for the fact that, yes, there is, you know, there was life at the time. Well, and that's the thing. Contrary to the point I just made earlier, it might just be that life starts and dies a lot in certain places. Like, you know, if you look at how resilient life has been on Earth, then you can look to bodies like Europa or Enceladus or, heck, even Titan. And if life started at all, it's probably still there. I I feel like NASA's obsession with Mars has always been probably more that it's close rather than it is the ultimate ideal candidate for life right now. Because the problem with Mars is its atmosphere is just not thick enough. You know, could there have been life there in the past? Maybe. Geologically, are we likely to find record of it until we put people on the surface? I don't know. I genuinely think that, I think if I had to make a bet for life in our solar system, I would say Europa is probably the best bet. I think Europa is... I don't think that far away from a star you could create a better candidate for life. I mean, the ice over top probably does a fairly good job of protecting that planet from radiation, which there's a lot of radiation around Jupiter, but it's probably fairly protected. The tidal forces at Jupiter keep the interior of the planet quite warm. There's abundant water, very likely liquid water underneath the surface. I mean, I believe the Europa Clipper is probably going to all but confirm there's an ocean there. And then at that point, it is how do we get through it? I've heard a lot of interesting ideas involving, like, landing some kind of very small miniature nuclear reactor on the surface and using the heat from that reactor to run a machine that will like a pod that will heat its way through the ice slowly but surely, eventually breaking through the bottom and deploying a small submarine. It sounds complex, but I mean, getting through what could be hundreds of meters of ice is going to be the hardest part. The other thing, too, is we're going to have to wonder what gases are down there that are going to provide, are down there in great enough quantities for respiration. If these are creatures, if there are animals down there that require oxygen, how oxygenated is that water going to be? If there's chemosynthetic creatures, are there going to be vents? Like, you're going to have whole new cycles of elements through that system that you're going to have to work out how they work. I'm hoping in my lifetime we see a mission like that, where we can go out to Europa and we can see beneath the ice. It actually would be very interesting to try to, if it was ever possible, use some sort of laser interferometer and do a gravity survey of Europa while in orbit and try to truly map the density of that planet and see what's down there. Gravity surveys are used very often in the oil industry to find potential structures underground that may lead to traps for oil. I agree. Like, if life was on Mars in the past, I don't think that's a crazy leap. But, oh, is that an airfield down there? I'm pretty sure that's an airfield. Huh. If I was feeling brave and I wasn't so heavy, we might try a bush landing, but I'm very heavy right now. What is it? But the... Oh, I can't resist. I can't resist, everybody. Hang on tight. But yeah, life being on Mars, I feel, is probably almost a guarantee at some point in its history. But I believe that life being there now is very much wishful thinking. Like, I just don't see it. It's so hostile now. Though, like I said, it is very difficult to sterilize a planet, apparently. So, if it was there at one point, it might still be there. I just think that the obsession with it is somewhat blinding. Like, organizations like NASA to what potentially could be much greater discoveries elsewhere in the solar system. Like, I honestly think the biggest problem with Titan is that it's cold. if there were vents or something on Titan, or if you could find any sort of geological activity that puts heat into that system, I would say there's almost a guarantee that there's life there. Oh, I was just talking about how, like, you know, same thing we were talking about. I'm also going to go land at this bush runway because I want to give it a try. But I was talking about how I'm pretty sure that, like, Mars, while it would be hard to sterilize a planet, I think that Mars is probably... I think if there's life there, it's going to be very hard to find until we put astronauts on the surface. Stuff like that. Alright, so now we're in beta flight mode. Which, as you can see, if you look down, we are still dropping a bit of throttle, and we are heading down at a pretty severe angle. We're going to aim just short of this... we're going to aim just short of this runway, and we'll flare when we get close to the end to pull away all of our, what's it called? Our velocity. There we go, sorry. Now, I don't have reverse thrust set up in this thing, so we're going to have to really get on the brakes. Alright, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and turn my igniter on in case of an engine stall. Igniter on. Little low. That's okay. We have the velocity. Beautiful. There we go. That's how it's done. But yeah, if I had to guess, if it was me who was making the decision for funding, I would go after probably Europa pretty hard right now. I think if I were looking at our solar system and outside of Earth, I needed to find the nearest place on the planet that had life, I think it's Europa. I think Titan and Enceladus are both really good candidates, but Europa seems to be the one to for me. Well, and that's the interesting thing too. There was those beautiful set of pictures a couple years ago. They know that there is, like, in very rare cases, there appears to be a form of running water flowing through some dunes near the poles, yeah, on Mars. Like, we know that running water is a thing out there, which is kind of amazing. All right, we're gonna go ahead and bring her about. Okay, let's set back up and head back towards our vector line. Okay. Bring our flaps up. Let's go ahead and bring our prop back a little bit. Full throttle. Whoa! Whoa! Forgot to trim that rudder up. That's alright. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Oh, yeah. I mean, well, Sagan, I think, was one of the most intelligent, like, scientists of the modern, like, semi-modern era. Like, that dude was brilliant. And one of the great things that he knew how to do is he knew how to present a very complex, or very complex ideas in a very, very simple way. I actually really enjoyed the new. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson can sometimes come off as a bit. I almost want to say. I don't know how to put it, but sometimes it seems like he's talking down to you a bit when he speaks. But I did enjoy his revival of Cosmos. I really enjoyed the new Cosmos. I thought that was a brilliantly done show. And I think a lot of that was kind of he brought a very nice perspective and talked very, well about a number of very complex concepts. I will say this, though. I will never forgive Mr. Tyson for taking Pluto away from us. Like, I can never forgive that. And I read his book. I read his entire book on why he did it. So I know why it was done. I cannot forgive such a thing. Alright, that was a beautiful bush landing, everybody. So we're now climbing back out from landing in that little village. And we're heading back towards Lukla. We have our next waypoint up here. So I think what I'll probably do now is probably just take over and fly this sucker manually. We're going to need to climb back up because we killed all of our altitude with that little adventure we had, but we're gaining altitude pretty quickly right now. Oh, how dare you. How dare you. No, but I understand the arguments. I think that because people said, we need to have, then Eris is going to have to be a planet, and UB313 2003 is going to have to be a planet, and all these other things, and it was like, Pluto, based off of what we've seen from the, whatever craft that was that flew by it, is a different animal from a lot of other Kuiper Belt objects. I mean, it's geologically active. Like, it's not some dead space rock out in the middle of nowhere. It's, it's replacing parts of its surface. I mean, I think they said, that glacier on one side of it, shaped like a giant heart, might only be like 13 or 14 million years old. Like, in recent geologic history, Pluto is doing something. I feel as if that it is a different animal from many of the small objects we've seen out there. Okay. We're going to fly back over here. We're continuing to climb climbing through 6,300 feet right now up to Lukla. And we're just going to slot into this canyon. And we're going to pass our checkpoint here, and then we're going to hang a left and start heading up north, or further north up to Lukla. Okay, here we go. All right. I just can't really tell well enough which KBOs are like that and which, 2003 or something. Hey, I could like that too. Our sample size is 1 right now, 3 if you count Charon and Arakoth. But that's still tiny. I will give you that. That is an excellent point. But it was Pluto. It should have been grandfathered in. Little Pluto. And I'm going to tell you, the Plutonians are not going to be happy about this when they find out. All right, gorgeous day in the Himalayas here. Look at that. Just terraced village. You can see the terraced farming of these villages down there. Absolutely beautiful. Hey, it's I will always be a Pluto. What is it that I was just talking about the book? Neil deGrasse Tyson called them Pluto files. People who were like religiously of the belief that Pluto should still be a planet. All right, here we go. Beautiful day to fly. Really nice. Had a nice bush landing there. Proved that this big old heavy girl can do it. We burned through about a seventh of our fuel today, which is pretty nice. Now, I believe there are no fuel services at Lukla, so if we want to go do a tour around Mount Everest, and we want to do this realistically, I'll have to remember what our fuel load is and reapply that fuel load into the aircraft once we've dropped off our cargo. And we are still climbing. Actually, I'm going to nose us up just a little bit and keep the climb going. Oh, yeah, that is one of the most amazing things is, the military had a real problem with that in Iraq and Afghanistan for the IED robots. When they would get blown up, like, the troops would, like, mourn them. They would feel bad for the robot, and, like, you know, they would hold, like, funerals and services for the blown-up robot. In a way, I guess you could say in a way it's kind of adorable, but it's also, I can see how it would get in the way of those robots doing the job that they were literally built to do. You know, it's a cold, unfeeling machine. Okay, we need to get a lot of altitude very quickly. Thankfully, this plane has just an inordinate amount of power. I think the PT-6, the turbine in this thing, makes roughly, it's like 600 or 700 horsepower. Mike Pate has said that he intends to rebuild Draco after the crash. He has already bought another Wilga to build another Draco out of, and is said that the goal for the next Draco is 1,000 horsepower. All right. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that's very cyberpunk that people kind of fall in love with robot companions. I do have a Roomba named Ralph, and I'm going to be honest, I know that Ralph is an unfeeling machine, but I still enjoy having Ralph in the apartment. Ralph is a good boy, and he does the best he can with the limited brain power that iRobot gave him. And iRobot, I think that Ralph might even be dumber than other vacuums of his model. Okay, we're gonna fly through this checkpoint here and start turning up these canyons on our way to Lukla. We're going to get our next, there we go, there's our next checkpoint. So we're just going to turn towards it and keep flying up this beautiful canyon. What a pretty morning. Okay, we're passing 8,000 right now. About to pass 9,000. Every colonial school on Ceres would be bombarded. Are we ever going to build a colony on Ceres? I mean, what is out there? What is the point? No, and also, you would tell those kids on Ceres, Pluto is better than y'all. Plutonians, the colonists on Pluto, are of a higher caste because their planet is cooler. And then the Great Ceres-Pluto War would start. That reminds me, I gotta nab all of The Expanse so I can watch it. The Expanse looks like a pretty cool show. Yeah, I've seen the first 2 seasons, but they, you know, no spoilers, everybody, but one of my favorite characters died, and, like, now I'm sad. Alright, we are still continuing a beautiful flight up into the Himalayas here, everybody. I actually believe Lukla should be coming into view here after the next couple of checkpoints. Let's go check our altitude. We're at 9,800 feet, which should be high enough to attempt our landing. We'll probably have to lose some altitude fairly quickly. Thankfully, we have our beta flight mode if we need it. So we're going to come around this turn here. There we go. Picked up our next leg. Now, Lukla, as I remember, is pretty interesting. I haven't landed here in a couple years, but you kind of got to fly straight towards a mountain and then turn at the last second to get to the airport. There it is. I think I see it. Okay, what's our altitude right now? 9,200. I want to add a little bit of power. Well, it's not sorry, Ceres. I thought you were talking about Eris. Ceres, yeah, I think we could colonize in 3 centuries. I think that's more than reasonable. Sorry, I was thinking about Eris instead. But yeah, Ceres could be colonized, but I will ask this. There's got to be something there. You know? It's the same thing. But yeah, then I would still watch a Ceres-Pluto war. Alright, everybody, here we go. There is Lukla, everybody. Okay, we got some flaps. We got a little bit of flap down. Throttle's forward. Igniter is on. There is no go around here, everybody. If we screw this up, we're gonna land. We're gonna crash into a mountain. It's very hard to see, everybody, but you will see it very soon. I know it's colonized in what's it called? In The Expanse. I know they've colonized Ceres. Ceres. Okay, here we go. Little snowy up here this time of year, so it's going to be slick. I don't have skis equipped on this plane right now, but I don't think we're going to need them. Okay, I need to zoom in here and make sure I'm looking at the right spot. I'm pretty sure it's right there, it just hasn't loaded in yet. Once again, everybody, there is no go around here. So we got to be careful. popping in and out of beta flight mode right now. Couple of buildings off to our right. Small settlement. See it right there. Okay. Here we go, everybody. I gotta watch my airspeed really closely. I have stalled before while flying into this airport. Flaps all the way down. Keeping my throttle up more than you think you should. We have plenty of brake, and we'll be landing uphill. Okay, here we go. Turning on to final. Here we go. I'm being very quiet right now, and I say here we go a lot while I'm, like, scared. I'm gonna land a little bit short. I'm aiming for the numbers rather than landing marks, because I want to have a lot of rollout distance. We're just gonna climb up this hill here. There we go, everybody. Lukla International Airport. Woo! Okay, we finished our first flight of the day, everybody. There we go. Let's go ahead and kick our parking brake on. There we go. Woo! Alright, let's go ahead and power the craft down to the point where we would normally do it if we were dropping off passengers and cargo. So, first, we're going to go ahead and switch on to external power. So we have everything. We'll kick that igniter off, close our cover. Alright, let's go ahead and we're going to bring our engine condition to low idle. And then to cut off. So we have to flip that over and pull this down. Okay. Turn our nav lights and beacon lights off. Okay, I hear you. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to do that. Okay, avionics are off. Let's kick this off. We're still going to keep the external power on. We can turn our battery bus off, though, because we have plenty of power. Gen switch can be switched to off. And there we go. We are on the ground at Lukla International Airport, ladies and gentlemen. One of my favorite places in the world, actually. Now we're going to go fly around Mount Everest. We're going to pick up in my mind, my fantasy little mind here, we're going to go ahead and pick up some sightseers who are going to go for a trip around Mount Everest, and then we shall fly back down to Katmandu. Because we'll be near the max altitude of this aircraft, but it can do it. I'm going to go ahead and feather our throttle. Do I actually have my reverse set up? Don't think I do. Dang. Okay, there we go. So let's go ahead and get set up for our next flight. Before we do that, I want to check my weight and balance calculations because we need to go to... So I had 71% fuel left. Okay, remember that, everybody. 71%. This is all the cargo we're going to drop off, and we'll say that we're going to pick up 2 passengers. So let's go ahead back to our flight planning, which I really wish I could do from inside the simulation, but we'll have to exit. And the Expanse is... see, that's the thing. I want to like the Expanse. I want to watch it again. I'm I need to find, I need to pay for Amazon Prime for like a month and just watch all of it as fast as humanly possible. Okay, we got there, we took off at 6 and we got there about 7. So we'll set the time to like 8 o'clock. Let's go ahead down here and let's go to the ramp and set the ramp as our departure, just where we were parked right here. Set as departure, sweet. Then we're gonna fly up to Everest Memorial. Yeah, we can fly up there. No. Okay. We're gonna have to make a complex flight plan here. Where's Katmandu at? There's Katmandu. All right, let's go ahead and set this as our arrival. But we have passengers to take on a sightseeing tour. So we're gonna go to, and we're gonna add that. There's Hillary Peak, Lhotse. We'll fly over the base camp if we can, so let's add that. I want to add that there. Amount of base camp. Remove. Okay. Base camp 4. That's camp 4. That's Mount Everest. Let's do... Yeah, let's actually fly down. Let's see if we can go over Hillary Peak here. Actually, no, that's going to be way too high for us. Lhotse, Everest Base Camp 3. Let's add that. We'll fly down the camps here. Oh, sorry, everybody. I'm, like, thinking in reverse here. Let's remove all these. I'm being dumb. Remove. Okay. Let's add that. Let's add that. Let's add that. Then we're going to turn south. There's no way we're going to be able to turn around there. So let's see if we can climb up to Hillary Peak. Then we will fly down this valley. Add. Add. Sorry, this is taking a second. You could just buy the DVD box set. I kind of do like physical media. It's a thing for me. Add. Add. Move. All right, so we're going to fly up here around Everest, and then we'll have a lot of altitude, so I'm going to say we're going to try to just fly straight back to Katmandu over the mountains. We'll see. The Turbo Porter has a maximum altitude of something like 25,000 feet, so I think we'll be okay. We're not going to be able to see the top of Everest, but that's okay. We're going to go down to 71% as where we were. We're going to say that we're going to take a pilot and a passenger at 180 pounds each, not 1,800. 180. We are going to take 2 passengers. Let's say they're both 180 pounds. Them and all their gear. Okay. And we're going to take on, let's say they're leaving the area, so let's say they've got 200 pounds of cargo. Boom. All right, there we go. So this will be what we're taking off with. and we're going to fly around Mount Everest and then back to Kathmandu. This will be a flight that'll take a little while, but I'm having a good time, so we're going to just have fun. Okay. Let's fly. Well, that's a pretty picture. I have yet to fly the X-Cub on floats. Okay, hey Spud, it was great talking to you again. Have a great day, okay? And definitely, if you want to, check out the VOD for my Eve landing. At the very end is very exciting. Like, a lot of that VOD is not great, but the very end is quite exciting when I'm actually putting hardware on the surface of... Okay. I should also note in a slightly spoilery fashion that, question mark. That, I'm in suspense right now. Okay, let's go ahead and get all this out of the way. What time is it? Okay, yep, sweet. It's 8 in the morning. All right, everybody, let's go ahead. Alex's actor was fired from the show for a while from doing some not nice things that actors do sometimes. So if you're wondering why he isn't there after a while, that's why. Oh, okay, cool. I will make sure I remember that. All right. External power is on. We are still set. Oh, did it leave everything the way I set it up? Well, this is excellent. All right, sweet. Let's charge our batteries. Okay, we're going to bring up our propellers. Okay, we're going to let everything boot up here. We have a long flight today to do some sightseeing around Mount Everest. As soon as we take off, we're going to fly south. And we actually have to turn around in an area I like to call the gallery, which is just south of here. If you're in a small aircraft, it nets you just enough room to turn around. And then it's going to be climb, climb, climb. We're actually going to go ahead and really quickly set our altitude. So let's go ahead and turn our flight director on. Auto trim, auto. Okay. We're going to go to altitude select, and I'm going to bring our altitude up to 21 or 22,000 feet because we're going to be going up high. I'm going to bring our climb up to I'm actually going to say 800 feet a minute because we going high today, folks. All right. But yeah, I'm going to keep that in mind, Spud, because that is something good to know. Let's go ahead and get our beacon lights on. Landing light position. Let's bring that down. Okay, controls. Free and clear. Okay. Check all of our... All right, let's go ahead and fire. Let's make sure we are calibrated. 318 is what our calibration at Kathmandu was. And we are close enough to Kathmandu right now that I think we'll be okay. So let's set to 318 for our barometric pressure. There we go. Let's bring our prop up to its ready setting. Okay, here we go, everybody. Checking everything. Let's bring our defrost. Let's go ahead and open our defrost up quite a bit. I want to bring heating up. Oil cooler. Let's open that part of the way. We don't want our oil to get too hot. Cockpit fan, cabin fan for our passengers today. All right, here we go, everybody. Let's fire her up. Fuel is on. Let's get that boost pump going. Starter. Igniter. Gen switch on. Boost pump on. We can turn external power off. Okay, we're ready to take off, everybody. We're going to depart south and then fly back north. Okay. Let's get our push back. We can be towed backwards, so it's going to be... All right, everybody. Thank you for flying Poopy Boop Airlines today. We're going to go on a sightseeing trip around Mount Everest. We know you have a choice in the airlines you fly, and you definitely made the wrong one. Okay. We're going to let's get locked and loaded. Okay. Go through my final checks. Oh, hey, what's up, Lazy? How are you? We're getting ready to do some sightseeing around Mount Everest. Okay, checking everything. We are good on all. Okay, making sure that's up and running. Let's get into high idle. All right, here we go, everybody. We should have enough fuel for our trip around Everest and to get back to Katmandu. So let's go ahead and take off. We have announced that we're going to take off. So let's go. Whoa, little too much power there. All right. Okay, Lazy, you're going to get to see one of the funnest takeoffs in maybe the whole world. Let me go ahead and trim us out to the right a little bit. Let's go ahead and trim for takeoff. Flaps down. All right, here we go. We are set. Throttling up. Here we go. Break off. Down the hill. Oh, those turning tendencies. Come on, dear. You got this. You got this. Let's go. Woo, yeah.
Don't sing. Don't sing.
Oh, I know. We are screwed if we get too low.
Don't sing. 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 Don't sing.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to stop talking. Thank you. All right. And we are gonna start climbing. We're actually heading in the opposite direction of where we want to go. Trust me, everybody, there is a plan here. We just need altitude right now. Altitude is everything. We need this engine to be taking, these props to be taking really big bites of the air as we turn around. You can see the gallery kind of just left off of our nose. There's that opening in that valley. That will allow us to very quickly turn around and then start just climbing. As you can see, I have if you look down towards the center of the screen right here, I have our autopilot set for, there is no destruction physics on the planes. If you crash, everything just goes black. It's very disappointing. I wish there was. It would be a lot cooler. But you can see the gallery I'm talking about just down to our left. So we're going to come down here, turn around, and head north. And all we're trying to do right now is climb, climb, climb. As fast as this plane possibly can. Because we're going real high up into the mountains today, everybody. But yeah, I wish there was destruction physics. I wish you could damage parts of the plane and work around it. I mean, they do have some sorts... They do have some things like that where you can, like, set up failures and stuff, and you'll have an engine failure. But I want, like... I want to see some smoke if something goes wrong, you know? Like Lego bricks on impact. All those crunchy aluminum noises. All right, everybody. Here we are, heading into the mountains. Heading towards Le Mount Everest. And all we're going to do here, everybody, is climb, climb, climb. We need as much altitude as we can possibly get. I got the plane trimmed to just... She is trimmed to want to climb. All right. Also, with the follow I got earlier from VTuber Enjoyer, I am at 40 followers now, which I feel like warrants a polite thank you to everybody who watches this channel and enjoys the dumb things that I do. It is humbling. Okay, we are just keeping the throttle up here. Now, I hope we have enough fuel to get back to Katmandu. That is my real concern right now. We're at about 2/3 of a tank, so I think we're going to be okay. This plane burns fuel like it's going out of style, but I'm hoping that we'll have enough to do our little flight here and get back to Katmandu. By my calculations in my mind, we definitely have over 2 hours plus some reserve. But we're also at full throttle right now. But we won't be at full throttle for most of our trip to Katmandu, because we'll be descending. Alright, here we go. And once again, we're still climbing. It looks like we're climbing past, I think, 13,000 feet now. And just trying to get up to... Whoop, didn't mean to do that. There we go. Just trying to get as high as we can, because I've done this flight once before, and oh, buddy, was it an exciting one. There's a lot of turbulence up here. There is a lot of... You know, you're right at the limit of what the engine can do. Yeah, we had a beautiful flight out of Lukla. Gonna go ahead and retract our landing lights right now. Digging this mix that I put on. 12 hours free, copyright-free music, as you all know. Gotta keep it copyright-free. Thankfully, the skies are nice and clear today. We don't have to worry about too much icing, though I do have the airframe de-ice and the prop de-ice on, along with the windshield defroster. If we were doing this flight IRL, we would be on oxygen at this point. Supplemental oxygen. Climbing up through 15,000 feet. Keeping the throttle all the way up and just letting this thing push as hard as it can. So I'll have plenty of airspeed. Yeah, I wish when you crashed you got some crunchy aluminum noises. There's a tea house down there. Potentially also a, what is it called? A shrine or a temple of some kind. They have a lot of, forgot what it's called, you know, where monks live and they hang out up in the mountains. Okay, we're going to pass our first checkpoint here and start heading up the glacier that leads to Everest. There apparently was an aircraft way back in the day that landed on one of these glaciers, and I believe is the highest landing ever by an airplane, because they had to take off too. And yeah, I think they landed on skis on one of these glaciers. I've actually consistently looked for the spot that it happened because I think it would be a really, really fun landing to attempt, but I've always struggled to find it. They do have one of these turbo porters you can get that is on skis. So I'll keep looking, and one of these days I'll try to do that for everybody. And we are still climbing, folks. Still climbing. I'm a little concerned that I may not be able to get over my straight to my next waypoint because it goes over a mountain. It looks like I'll have to fly up this canyon to our right and then up to it, because there is no way I'm making it over some of these mountains. Keeping the throttle pinned right now, everybody. We are climbing past, it looks like 18,000 feet. 22,000 might not be enough here. Set to 25,000. That is very close to the max altitude this plane can go. I'm not actually currently on autopilot. I'm flying this flight myself because we are so unbelievably high that I kind of need to be ready if something starts to go wrong. But I believe right off the nose there, that tall peak is Mount Everest. Looking extremely beautiful here, covered in snow. Okay. There's this glacial valley right here. We're going to go ahead and turn towards that glacial valley. And just keep pushing our little plane upwards. Like I said, we're doing sightseeing today, so we have a lovely group of two passengers who I'm sure paid a fortune for this flight and all of their cargo. Yeah, over the complex that contains Everest. I believe, actually, that tall peak off to the left could be Choyo, but I believe Choyo is actually a bit farther away. But the peak next to Everest up there that you can see, that is Lhotse. Lhotse is a peak that is also climbed by a great number of mountain climbers, sometimes in preparation to climb Everest. Lhotse, from what I understand, can also be quite a sketchy climb. There's a face on it that if you slip and fall, that's pretty much it. We're going to come over here and just overfly this checkpoint that I set up. I'm a little concerned that our current flight path calls for us to fly over the top of Everest, which is not something this plane can do. But perhaps we'll just fly close and that will be enough. Just passing 20,000 feet now. Yeah. Now I got to be careful here. You don't want to get boxed into these canyons, and I'm a little concerned about being able to fly over the step here in front of Lhotse. We see up there the border with China. It's marked on my just left of, or just to your left of my head here. It is marked on my my map display there. That's 21,000 feet, everybody. Actually, that spot right there might look just off to the right. Looks like it might actually be a nice place to attempt a landing if I ever put skis on this thing. Though I think if I landed up here, I will not get back off the ground. Okay, let's take a look at my VFR map and see if this is doable. You can see it's unbelievably high up there, which is what's making me concerned. But let's see if we can at least get this checkpoint to hit. And then we might have to try something fancy. Passing 21,000, or nearing 22,000 feet. Still maintaining pretty good airspeed, though I am a little concerned that what I'm going to attempt now is actually impossible. Yeah, I don't think I can get that high. Whoa, okay, we're starting to... we nearly stalled there. Woo. Yeah, I think this might be it for my passengers today, everybody. I think this is just about as high as the old airplane goes. She's still climbing, though. Let's fly back here and see if we can come around and just gain a bit of more altitude. You can see Tibet over there, down the mountains, the high desert of Tibet. Beautiful area. Am I going to have enough room to turn around in here? This is the question. I think I will. Still climbing as well, passing 23,000 feet. We would definitely be on oxygen right now. You know, this is the... mere mortals are on oxygen here. People who climb Mount Everest are laughing at this point, but I've actually been almost this high. I've been just underneath 20,000 feet on a mountain before. It was pretty amazing. Very out of breath most of the time, and the altitude does very weird things to you. I believe we took Diamox, which is something that can help stave off altitude sickness. It doesn't, you know, it of course doesn't stave off altitude sickness forever, but it will help you stave it off for just a little while you attempt your summit. Okay. Beautiful. Now the plan is, can we make it up through there? Part of me really wants to try it, everybody. I mean, she's still trying to climb. She still really wants to climb. If we do it, it'll be really tight. Yeah, I don't think that's possible. Okay. Well, that's not good. Let's see what we can do to solve the problem here. Nearly hit a mountain. Woo! Okay. I do not have the oomph to do this flight right now. So I'm trying to figure out if I can get back onto my flight plan. There we go. Okay, it's switching. Good. All right. So that's as close as we're going to get to Mount Everest, everybody. Holy crud, that was terrifying. We're going to head over here and get back on course and see if at this advanced and super high altitude, if we can actually get to where we need to go. So I'm going to lower my altitude here to 24,000. And we're going to try to level out and gain some airspeed. We are very high. Imagine what birds think of planes. I've always imagined that, like, you know those fish that dump, or those planes that dump fish out way up high in, like, the mountain lakes? I've always wondered what those fish tell the other fish, you know? That's got to be like being abducted by aliens. You know, the fish comes in and is like, guys, I was taken in this flying machine from my home and dropped off in this lake. And the other fish are like, no, you weren't. You're crazy. Okay, we're going to keep turning here and align to our path. And we're going to try to head over these mountains back to Katmandu direct. Is this a good idea? Is this a smart idea? Well, probably not. But that's not the channel you're watching, everybody. Oh my god, we almost crashed. And I only think I've crashed once while streaming to everybody here. Whew. Okay, we're a little above a half tank, which, once we get over these ridges and peaks, I think we'll be okay to get down to Katmandu. Katmandu's a bit far away, but I think we'll be okay. And we got some big mountains in front of us right now. Thankfully, the aircraft is just beautifully trimmed right now for what we're doing with it. You can see just down there. Beautiful terrain, very rugged, very terrifying. Of course, there aren't many birds up here. There are a few birds, I believe, that have been found flying above the Himalayas, riding the mountain wave, and have been up at unbelievable altitudes, 30-something thousand feet. But I think it's rare. I think there was a condor that 747 or something hit that was at like 31 or 33,000 feet hanging out. And that's one of the highest birds ever seen. I believe there's actually thought to be some sort of like microbial ecosystem high in the atmosphere. I believe there's been some studies done. But you know, there's sections of the atmosphere that we still just don't really know that much about, because they're kind of between orbit and where balloons can go. And we just don't really know a lot about them because, you know, they're so high up. Okay, we're descending a little bit. Let's try to trim down a little bit. There we go. All right, I see a gap that we can shoot in those mountains up ahead. And then we'll get back on course. But yeah, I imagine that birds are pretty interested in what... Well, actually, I don't know what birds think of planes. I know that certain birds hate drones. When I was doing a lot of drone work a couple years ago, bird attacks, we would get... Our drones would be attacked by birds. Small birds, fairly commonly. The bigger birds, a lot of raptors and stuff, would typically circle around once or twice, decide that they didn't really care for it, and leave. But small birds really hated our drones. Okay. So now we're a little above a half tank, like I said, and we are heading down to Katmandu. Let's go ahead real quick and take a look at how far we have to go. So we have about 27 minutes to Katmandu International. So we got a little bit of time. We're going to be landing runway 02 there. Oh, I should do this in full pilot voice. Hang on. We got a beautiful flight today. The weather's looking really nice. We'll be landing runway 02 in about 27 minutes. Oh, the other thing I want to do really quickly, let's go ahead and do... Gifty options, wind. There we go. Okay, now we know what our wind is, and we are flying into a heck of a headwind right now. It's showing right now we're flying into a 40-knot headwind. So we are not, that's probably why we are not... Whoa, that was a beep. Checking my T's and P's here. I'm not seeing anything. We've got power. Amps are good, voltages are good. Airspeed showing good, altimeter is moving. Controls are free and clear. I don't know what that beep was for. It might just be to tell me that I'm at a half tank. Might be a turnaround beep. Hey, time to turn around and go home. Okay. Now, we have this section of mountains up here, and I think if we can get across it, we're going to be good to go. I see a gap over here that I think I'm going to go ahead and try to shoot. So let's go ahead and just bring our nose gently to the right. Once again, we are very close to the performance envelope of this aircraft. But as you can see, there are lowlands beyond these peaks. So if we can get through those, we can fly direct, pretty much direct to Katmandu. A lot of bush flying today, just a lot of mountain flying. Nice and relaxing after the insanity that was yesterday's stream, trying to do something I've never done before in Kerbal Space Program. Okay, here we go. Beautiful. It's difficult for you guys to see right now, but there's quite a bit of turbulence too in many of these mountains. They kick you around quite a bit. Looks like we're at about 20... 21.7. Let's drop this to 22. Let's bring this down. All right, let's see if my autopilot is not quite smart enough to not fly me into a mountain yet. So that's okay. Okay, there we go. All right, I've got the autopilot set, and I think it is stable. We're going to come up to 22,000 feet, lock in on Katmandu, and start flying. We'll lower our altitude as we go. But as you can see, nothing right now but clear skies in front of us, finally. After a very, very stressful time doing that little sightseeing mission where I almost slammed into a mountain. Okay, there we go. Beautiful. We're even going to throttle back just a little bit to conserve some fuel. Let's go ahead and check that fuel right now. We are sitting at, yeah, just above half a tank. Looking great. We are burning 61 gallons an hour at this altitude, but I think that'll drop as we lower our altitude. It takes a lot to keep this plane up here right now. Just beautiful glacial features down below us. But yeah, we are settled in. And now we're just cruising along. Using this second after that exciting part of that flight to check all of my temperatures and pressures. Okay, looking good. Passengers, you know, my invisible passengers look really happy right now. Getting a little bit of turbulence as we head over the top of these peaks, but that should lower down a bit as we get closer to where we want to be. Okay, let's go ahead and run through our... Go back. Let's go ahead and start running through our stuff. The options. Turn one, wind, we've got that set. Back. And we are handling a huge headwind and slight crosswind of 33 knots right now. So we are not even pointed totally in the direction we want to go. Everything is set. My amps looked a little bit... Volts are good. My amps looked a little bit low. But it looks like they're okay now. Oil is a little cool. Let's go ahead and bring our... oil cooler a bit more closed to trim up, and we should see that oil temp rise. Oil PSI is good, flow is good, NG is good, MP is good. I believe that is the RPM of our prop right there, which is good. Torque is a little bit high. We're putting a lot of torque on the engine. I wonder if I can dial this back just a little bit. Maybe just pull throttle back a bit and bring our torque down. There we go. That's a much nicer amount. Now hopefully we can continue to hold this altitude with that set that way. Okay, that looks good. All right. I'm going to check through everything here and make sure we're good. Okay, everything looks okay. Let's go to map options. I want to make sure we have traffic turned on. We do. Okay, sweet. Direct to FPL. Sweet. All right, we are doing good. I think we can even drop our altitude now that we are clear of the highest mountains, some of the highest mountains in the world, including the highest mountain in the world. Trim interrupt, interesting. Pitch trim, interesting. We do have, if we had external fuel tanks, we could literally pump fuel into them, but I don't think they ever put that option on this plane, which is kind of sad because the Pilatus PC-6 can have external fuel tanks. Heck, when the CIA used these things in Vietnam, you could have drop tanks. Oh yeah, fun fact, the CIA used these things in Vietnam. Alright, let's go ahead and lower our altitude down to 20. Let's go ahead and turn on vertical flight mode. And we're just going to let it bring us down. We're going to watch our speed very closely. We don't want to go too fast. But this will help us pick up some speed. We are... How far are we outside Katmandu? We are 19 minutes outside of Katmandu. Let's bring our vertical speed down even more. 300 feet a minute, please. All right. Katmandu is pretty low. I think it's at 4,000 and some change feet. Actually, let's check really quickly. I think when we leave at or land at Katmandu today, we'll probably call the stream done. It's been really fun hanging out with everybody today, but I need to go get my car washed. Actually, let me take a look at the temperature. Yeah, it's probably warm enough to wash my car. I need to wash my car today. Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, 4352 feet is where Katmandu is. Let's go ahead and go to ATC. Let's tune Katmandu Center. Let's go to nearest airport list. VNKT, VNKT, VNKL, VNLT, VN. That's not even showing it yet. All right, that's okay. We'll get there when we get there. I suppose we could actually tune it manually if we wanted to try. Heading. Let's go to VFR map. Let's see what it is. Approach Tower 1181. Okay. Maps. Comms. Com volume. Com receiver tuner 1181. One 81. Okay, there we go. We can... Yeah, there we go. 1181. So we are tuned. We should get them eventually. All right, we'll check it later, but... All right, and we are still descending. We should be descending through... Let's descend down to 15,000. I'm going to drop our throttle even more. Heck, let's go down to 1,000 feet a minute. Let's use that beta flight mode, everybody, that I keep talking about. There we go. I'm gonna pop the flaps down, and we're gonna go down at 2,000 feet a minute, everybody. Full beta flight mode here. Heck, we can probably go down even harder. All right, there we go. Descent, 3,000 feet a minute, everybody. Perfectly stable, holding 95 knots. This is like why I love this plane. Still on autopilot, too. Just falling out of the sky. This is kind of, you know, the power of beta flight. You can go even steeper. One of the reasons this plane is loved by skydivers worldwide is the skydivers can do a jump, and when they finish the jump, like by the time they land after the jump, the Pilatus PC-12 will be on the ground ready to pick them up again. Like just sitting and waiting. It is kind of one of the coolest planes ever for what you're seeing right now. We could actually go steeper if we wanted to. We can go down at 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 feet a minute if you want to. It is pretty amazing some of the stuff this plane can do. Coming through 15,000 feet now. We're going to head down to... I mean, I have flown the fastest jet in the game. I've flown the Dark Star, which goes Mach 9. I can fly it again on my next stream. If by popular demand, I'll fly it next weekend. We can do... Last time I flew from Area 51 out to Honolulu, and it took 27, 28 minutes, something around there. It's a really fun plane to fly. Okay, we're coming down to... we're getting close to 13,000 feet here. When we get here, I'm going to go ahead and pop the flaps up as the plane begins to level us out. Flaps coming up. Going to feed in some power. Oh, heck yeah. I would be happy to fly it next weekend. Absolutely. I will write it down and make sure that we do some Dark Star flying next week. I eventually want to try an around-the-world flight with it. Like, fly all the way around the world in, like, 2 or 3 hours. The only thing about that plane, because we were talking about it yesterday, about doing a long flight where I can just sit and watch some funny videos with everybody while we do a long flight. The only problem with doing that in the Dark Star is the Dark Star does not have an autopilot. Like, you have to manage it all the time, because it'll go through phases where it'll really want to climb, then it'll really want to go down, and you have to manage your altitude, because the airframe at that speed is very, very sensitive, and it is very easy to put too much into that airframe and have the plane basically just tear itself apart. All right, we are down, and we're looking good. That was awesome. Oh, beta flight mode is the coolest thing ever. So yeah, we're just going to putter along here now and get where we're going. Let's go ahead and check and see how far away we are from Katmandu. We are 11 minutes outside of Katmandu. How many miles? It doesn't give me a mileage. Sad. But it's showing 10 minutes out. Let's go over here and see if it'll give me a mileage. Yep, we are 28 nautical miles away. So let's go ahead and lower our altitude even more. Let's go ahead and go to our vertical speed. And I want to bring us down. Once again, we're going to come down pretty aggressively. Oh, that was my bad. I hit the wrong button. Let's bring our altitude down to 9,000. Flight mode or vertical speed mode. Bring our pitch up to go into beta. Throttle all the way back. Pick the flaps down. And let's come down to like 1,500 feet a minute. And we'll just fall out of the sky again. Here we go. We're flying in it to Katmandu from an angle I normally don't fly in. Oh my god, also, look at that beautiful mist. That fog could cause us some problems, but I think we'll be okay. And yeah, we're just letting the plane fall now, right out of the sky, and she will just happily fall like this all day long. I don't know why my baro got changed, but let's go ahead and get my barometer set correctly. There we go, good. All right. But yeah, definitely, I can do some Dark Star flying next week, and I love flying that thing. It just feels fast and cool and alien almost in the way it flies. All right, passing 10,500 feet. Let's go ahead and see, can we control our zoom here? There we go, there's Katmandu. So we got to go over those mountains right there, and in that mist-filled valley is going to be Katmandu. So we'll level out 9,000 and hold it there for a while. I think that'll get us over these mountains. And then we'll drop down, once again, probably using beta flight mode because it's awesome, once we get to the Katmandu area. You can see all the approach beacons here. I need to do IFR flying, too. Everybody should let me know if they want to see me fail at doing IFR. I have no idea how to do automated approaches, and I need to learn one of these days. I'm pretty sure this plane can do automated approaches, as can a couple of my other favorite planes that I fly. There we go. Gonna bring our throttle and pitch back into normal flight mode here. And yeah, we should just clear that mountain up ahead very nicely. And we're heading into Tribhuvan International Airport. I have no idea if that's how you say it, Tribhuvan, but it sounds right. Just kicking along here after our lovely flight while nearly dying up near Mount Everest. I'm going to be honest, too, I'm very proud of that Lukla landing. That was actually one of my best landings at Lukla so far. Lukla is just very intimidating because the runway feels long until you're looking at it on approach, and you're like, oh my god, where is the rest of the runway? It's so short. Thankfully, this plane has really good brakes. This plane has really solid, you know, this is just an awesome bush plane. It's very good at what it does. It's a very neat plane. One of my favorites. I will sing its praises forever. There are actually a whole lot of YouTube channels of guys who do flying down in, like, New Guinea, and then in, like, I think like Alaska and the Himalayas, who fly these things, who film a lot of their flights and kind of show you what their days are like, landing in these tiny isolated villages, using that beta flight mode, and doing just these crazy landings on these little dirt and grass strips to drop supplies and people off at these small villages. It's really, really cool. And yeah, a lot of these guys, for them, you know, this plane is their office. And a lot of them love the plane. I mean, I actually believe the last Pilatus PC-6 to ever be built has been delivered. And that's it. Pilatus is not going to build any more of these things, which is kind of sad because it's kind of a famous airplane. You know, it's one of the coolest airplanes ever made for what it can do. Now I want to know we're at 1 Celsius, so we're gonna keep our de-ice on right now, everybody, because we're gonna be coming into this mist and this coming into this mist. We want to make sure some of this, given that this is Katmandu, is probably a bit of smog as well. We just want to make sure we keep our de-icing on so that we can avoid icing up in this mist. So we are, how far out are we? We're about 5 minutes out from Katmandu. It's going to be just over this ridge line here that we're flying over now. Once we're over it, we'll probably drop back into beta flight mode and begin our landing. Let's go ahead and deploy our landing lights. So we're going to extend the landing lights out and kick those on. Let's go ahead and see if we can actually get Katmandu on the radio. Turn Katmandu approach. Nearest airport list, screw that. VNKT, I want to do Katmandu Tower. A plane made out of bushes. Very stealth plane. You could barely see it. Let's check the ATIS real quick.
Katmandu Airport information. Oscar 0300 Zulu. Wind 100 at 4. Visibility 4. Sky condition. Few clouds at 500 feet. Temperature 6. Dew point 10. Altimeter 30.18. Visual runway 02 in use. Landing and departing runway.
Okay. I'm going to request a full stop landing.
Alpha Sierra, X-ray Golf Sierra, Katmandu Tower. Altimeter 30.17 with 100 and 4. Enter left downwind runway 02.
Make left downwind runway 02, Pilatus X-ray Golf Sierra.
Okay. Runway 02. So we're going to come in and turn and come down that way. Okay, sweet. I'm going to leave the autopilot on and let it continue to bring us down. And then we're going to switch to manual here in just a minute. Let's go ahead and bring that down to 7,000. Actually, let's do 6,500. I think that'll be a good pattern entry altitude. The airport is at what? Hang on. VFR map. The airport is 43, so let's make our altitude 5,300 feet. We'll do 5,400 just to be safe. And let's bring our vertical speed down to 300 feet a minute. 400 feet a minute. We're going to back off the throttle here. Give the plane a little help in descending. And we are flying into this mist. Aya Nasser sold me bad copper. I'm going to write a clay tablet complaint. Okay. Clay tablet complaints might take time to write, Quandle, because you gotta write the complaint, then you gotta send it off to the kiln to be fired, then you can send it off to the homie to complain. Are you gonna give him a bad review on ancient, what's that site where you review everybody on and everybody hates it? You all know what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay, here we go. We're going to enter their airspace. We have a little bit of restricted airspace here and here that we're going to need to watch out for just a little bit, but I think we're going to be okay. Let's go ahead and zoom our map in just a little bit over here. Okay. We have our pattern entry instructions set. We are still descending. I'm going to drop our descent a little bit more. Not quite going to go into our beta mode here, but I just want to get as low as we can, as fast as we can. We're passing 8,000 feet right now, so we actually need to go down way more. So now we are going to go into beta flight mode. Okay, there we go. That's full beta flight mode, and we're just going to start falling. We're definitely going to land, but softly or explosively is the question. We're going to land softly. I believe in us today. I think we got this. And we did acknowledge our pattern entry instructions. Let's check that. Yep, sweet. I'm terrible at entering patterns because I'm not a real-ass pilot. I think we should be okay. Not a lot of traffic in these skies today, so we should be okay. And here is gorgeous Katmandu under a layer of, let's politely call this mist or fog rather than smog, which it, no offense to Katmandu, probably is. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean to these nice people here. I've seen pictures of the city. Okay, here we go. All right, I've got the controls. We're going to land on runway 2. So what is the opposite of 2? That is going to be... We're going to turn south to 200 once we pass this and enter the pattern. Pop those flaps up for now as we don't need them. I'm pretty sure that's the airport on our nose, so let's go ahead and turn down to 200. That is the airport. And I'm gonna land, I'm waiting for clearance to land. Oh, it is a smoggy day. Waiting for ATC to give me the call to say I can land.
The latest X-ray Golf Sierra with 100 and 4. Cleared to land runway 02.
There's our clearance. We're going to acknowledge our landing clearance.
The latest X-ray Golf Sierra.
And here we go. We're going to come around and land. Let's go ahead and get our flaps down. First stage flaps. I'm going to trim the plane up just a little bit. Let's go ahead and get our igniter turned on, just in case we have an engine problem. Igniter is on. Okay, we're going to come around here. Okay, we're just waiting to see this runway come into view. I think I might be turning just a little bit wide. Nope, there it is. All right, sweet. Here we go. Okay, let's go ahead and bring our throttle back down. Let's trim our we're a little high, but I'm not too worried because once again, we have beta flight. So we're just gonna come on down and just kind of fall out of the sky here. We could actually do a side slip too if we wanted to. Feeding in a bit of power to prevent a stall. There we go. Just cruising along at 65 knots. Gonna try to put it on the stripes. Okay, power all the way down. There we go. Brakes on.
The latest X-ray
Oh, I got you, lady. I needed like a tenth of that runway to land.
Sierra, contact ground on 121.9er.
All right, there we go, everybody. Let's go ahead and get our parking brake on here for a second. Let's clean the plane up. Get our flaps up. There we go. Let's contact ground. We'll acknowledge our ground handoff.
121.9er Pilatus X-ray Golf Sierra. Katmandu ground Pilatus Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra request
All
taxi to
right.
parking. Pilatus Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra taxi to general aviation parking using taxiway Alpha.
Let's go here. Turn our GPS tracking on. There we go. All right, sweet. We know where we're going. We took off from here a couple hours ago from general parking.
Pilatus X-ray Golf Sierra, please acknowledge.
Oh, I got you, buddy. Give me a second.
Taxiing to general aviation parking using taxiway Alpha Pilatus X-ray Golf Sierra.
Okay, here we go. Wonderful flight. Eventually, I might get a third monitor so I can put like my VFR map and all my stuff, other controls over on that map, so it'll be easier to see my chat when I play this game. Okay. We're just going to putter along here over to our VFR parking. Or not VFR, light aircraft, general aviation parking. We're going to pull up a bit. We just want to keep our tail wheel on the ground during this. This plane, you know, wants to fly. She will attempt to take off if you give her the opportunity. Especially since we're heading into the wind right now. I'm going to check and make sure my flaps are all the way up. Just puttering along, flying over on the ground. There's one of the crazy ground crew people in this game. I think the AI that runs the ground crew, or the algorithm that runs them, is not the greatest in the world. But he's off to fuel some people. We got buses driving across the runway out there. Pandemonium here, everybody. All right, there's a Cessna parked over there, so I'm going to call that general aviation, even though I felt like general aviation was actually further this way. In fact, I do believe it is this way. I'm pretty sure those are gates that these small airplanes are parked at. We'll go ahead and get over there here in just a second, and then yeah, if the request is made, we'll fly. We'll do some Dark Star flying on our next stream. I think that'll be fun. Now the question is for my Dark Star fans out there, because I don't quite want to do the full round the world flight yet. The question for my Dark Star fans is where? From where to where? I mean, you don't really see much out of the windows of the Dark Star when you fly. You know, it's more about the speed and the controlling the craft and wrestling with it. That's what's fun about it. There we go, everybody. So let's get our parking brake set. And let's start turning everything that we need off. So let's go ahead and get our auto trim off. Get this off. Turn our de-ice off. Let's go ahead and let's get our cockpit fan, cabin fan off. We can probably bring our defrost down to 0. Same thing with our heating. And let's go ahead and close our oil cooler entirely. Let's get our landing lights off and stow them. Landing lights are stowed. Let's go ahead and turn our external power on. We'll turn motor generator off. We can go ahead and set our fuel condition all the way to dead. Let's turn our igniter off. Boost pump off. All right, there we go. So let's go ahead and we are going to get a warning, and it's not going to shut up. There we go. Okay, I did actually get it to shut up this time. Okay, so yeah, you can see our oil PSI. Everything's concerned because we just turned the airplane off. Let's go ahead and shut our fuel system valve. Put our gust lock on to our controls. Let's get our beacon lights off. Let's turn position and full our nav lights completely off. Let's do avionics next. Avionics are now gone. Whoa, that caused some drops in frames. We'll go ahead and turn this off, turn our panel lights off. And finally, we will kill our shore power. Ladies and gentlemen, she's cold and dead. That was it. What a fun day of flying. I definitely had fun. It was fun to talk to everybody. Lazy, Quandle, Spud earlier, who was here. Thank you all for stopping by and hanging out with me and chilling. It was just a chill day to do some flying in one of my favorite parts of the world in one of my favorite airplanes. Next weekend, I think I might do the old switcheroo with the schedule. We may do Flight Sim on Fridays and then Kerbal on Saturdays, so I have the time to go the whole day and really try to finish our Eve, Conquering Eve. So definitely tune in for that. If you're curious about any of my other videos, definitely check me out on YouTube. The channel is the exact same name. YouTube will try to correct it. Just make sure you search for Poopy Boop and you'll find me. I have an Instagram, which I'll probably make a post or two on in the next day, so definitely watch that space. I might even start putting some updates there for you guys because I was advised not to get a Twitter by my chat, and I like to listen to you guys. So thank you so much for watching today. Thank you so much for hanging out and having fun and enjoying flying, hearing about geology, hearing about airplanes. Yeah, just overall a really chill, fun day. You know, everybody have a lovely, lovely, lovely rest of your weekend. I will not be streaming tomorrow. Oh, thank you so much, Lazy. I do appreciate it. Like I said, I'm at 40 followers now, which is like 35 more than I ever intended to get on this platform. So it's really humbling to know that there are people out there that like hanging and watching. It really is. I don't want to get too sappy, but it does, you know, I look forward to streaming. Streaming is never something that I don't look forward to doing. I'm doing this as a hobby, and I really do enjoy it. So thank you so much. Yeah, anyways, I won't be streaming tomorrow because I have a D&D game. On the Sundays I don't have D&D games, I'll probably stream for you guys. But on the Sundays where I do, I'm taking those as a day to myself to go play D&D with some friends. So anyways, thank you so much, guys. I will catch you guys soon. Have a great rest of the weekend, and I will see you next week.